Hello and welcome. Today we're going to make a Megas XLR game. For those that don't remember, at least from the childhood. Yeah, so this is like part of the intro for this is a cartoon for kids. I watched it when I was little, years ago. So this is the first episode. This is the main character here. In a stockpile of trash, he finds this robot, and everything in the trash is $2. So of course he got the robot for $2.
What's that?
No idea.
$2, huh? I'll take it.
Oh, man.
Was pretty banged up.
And so he started working on the robot to fix it. The robot didn't have a head, so the main character put a car to control the robot. And then this chick from the future comes for her robot because in the future there are a bunch of aliens that will be tough to beat against Earth. And yeah. So I'm going to try to make a game. I already tried making one Samurai Jack Souls-like game. And it wasn't, the end result wasn't fun. And this time I'll try to do better. And here in Reddit I found reference images. I'll use these ones. And today in this stream we'll be modeling the robot. That's what we're going to do just in this stream. Yeah, so I need to download the reference images. They're perfect. So there are two images. Let's download them. Robot, front and rear. And this will be robot side. And we need to import them in Blender. I think we had here like something of the sort of import reference image reference downloads front and rear, and here we'll import image reference site, and that's it. And that's what we're going to do. At least that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to model, at least try to model the robot. And how... Yo, Lucas. Let me pop out the chat. Hello, Lucas. Now, let's model the robot. No distractions. Separate channel for life. Yeah, Lucas, it's just this channel for life, so that in main channel I don't annoy subscribers with notifications, because now I have like couple of streams each day. How did Blender work? I need mirror modifier, so I delete this, the vertex. Oh no. I delete... Yeah, I should delete the vertices. Let's go here inside. There should be somewhere a mirror modifier. Modifiers. Add modifier. Mirror. On the x-axis. This is not the... this will take some time. I'll delete these. Oh no. I don't know, man. Let's undo all these steps until we remove the mirror modifier. And I think I needed wireframe and to be able to select just the vertices. How was that supposed to be done? I've set a limit of 1 hour. By some chance, we have to be able to do this in 1 hour. Oh, this is object mode. I need to go in edit mode. This is the cube. Yeah, now we're in edit mode. Now I can move this. And I'm capturing the one behind. Sure. But I really need to delete them. Thanks, Lucas. I really need to delete these vertices. Yeah, and now I'll enable the mirror modifier. Yeah, Lucas, I need all the luck I can get because this will take more than just one stream. Okay. This is easy to solve if we go on the net. Blender how to model with reference. Yeah, we'll check out this guy.
Sort with me. Numpad over there. Reference if have better and screen card them on the left side. Reference. So flat on this. Press R to rotate. Well, you can see it. If I model like this here, and in mode, I'll hit Alt C or hit this button here, and then in edit mode, I can edit this one. So let me show you. I want to enable the mesh, so I hit the mesh. Then I go to edit mode, or I can just hit tab. And now you see these dots here. While I'm in wireframe mode, I can see through them. So I can just drag these ones around and make my sort that way. So let's start by hitting them here with G grab and then dragging them around. Now there are of course better ways to do this, but this is just a very friendly beginner tutorial, so anyone can just follow along with this one. Let's first make the blade and then the handle for it. I will add loop cuts, so Ctrl R, I hit 2, and I will do wireframe mode. Hit E, extrude them down, extrude them, already see a part of them with the sides, and just hide it or press H. Now,
He didn't use the mirror modifier. Blender mirror modifier. Mirror modifier will make everything a lot faster.
If you want to mirror a part of your object in Blender, here's how you do it. Select the object or the model, go here to Modifiers, Generate, and Mirror. Make sure to also enable clipping. Join the Discord community, link in bio. Mirror. Go here to Blender. If you want to mirror a part of
We still don't know how to use the mirror modifier. We have to wing it. Now, actually, let's bring out the robot here. And how should we do it? Yeah, something like that, but we really need the mirror modifier. Oh, we can actually, let's move this here and let's add the modifier mirror. Yeah, and let's enable like clipping, I think. Yeah, okay, that solved it. Now it should be a lot easier. The goal is to be like low poly. I don't know what result we will get. Yeah, on the side, it's not looking good, but we'll figure it out. Then here we extrude and do it like that. Now, for the rest of the body, I'm not quite sure how to approach the rest of the body. Let's go with the side. Let's move this here. This here. Something like that. So we did the body. We did the body. Now let's do the legs. And I'm wondering if the legs should be like the same object. I don't know. Can I do like add a cube? And actually here we don't need clipping. And now the side. This should be the legs, right? We have the legs. The model is too low poly, but like this is the best I can do. Here I can add one more cube. For the rest of the legs. And now the side. Now the arms. I'm using simple shapes since I'm just a programmer, and like I want it to be obvious. And simple shapes should make it easier to like um, to model it. I don't want it to look pretty. I just want it to be like enough. But maybe it looks too bad. I'm not sure actually. Solid. One thing actually, like I think it would have been best if they weren't like one object but separated, because right now it's hard to select, for example, just the arms. Why can't I select? I'm in edit mode. Oh yeah, I can select only the left side because we're in mirror. We use mirror modifier. Right now the issue is with the selections. Hmm. Let's actually, we can stop up to here. Let's hide these. We can stop up to here just to see how we can use it, because I need to use it in game. Like this is enough. Now, how would I use a model like this? We can complicate it afterwards. Um, Let me think about it. Hmm. Um, let's look at the video. Like that's what we can do. How Blender, how to model a character. Like what I want is guidance on how to organize the body parts. I want simple, low poly style. Low poly. Like I want it extremely simple. Separate body parts like this.
Hello and welcome to Abbott Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and today we're making a low poly person. It's more of a block person. To use a character reference sheet like this, images can be really drag it into your scene. It's a good idea to put this in its own collection. So I'm going to press M to move to collection. Undo of a command. So R for rotation and Alt R to undo any rotation. Alt G will undo any movement. I'm going to hide my initial man. I've got him in a collection there, so I'll just hide that. And then I'll move this background into position. So I want this front view to be the front of the character. And let's just position the head to start with. So Shift right click to move my cursor to that position. Shift A to add, mesh, and I'm just going to use a cube. So nice, simple shapes. Okay, let's look around a bit. I actually want this to be in the middle of my scene. So if I press N to bring up my toolbars, go across to item, I can change the Y to 0, and that's the Y direction there. So it's right in the middle of my scene. Now I can duplicate one of these backgrounds and use the side image. So Shift D to duplicate, Shift D, left click to set it in location, and then RZ90. And you can see I've created a new image there. Because the empty was already in my background collection, there's a new empty there. I should label these really side and front. So I'll click on the side, grab in the x-axis, and notice I'm not putting these on top of each other. I want to create a sort of background box, so I'm modelling in front of each of these two. So if I go to side view with 3 on my numpad, I'll still see my cube, and then front view, I'll still see my cube, and you can see my background there. So let's go to side view, 3 on my numpad, and line up with the box my background image. So grab in the Y, G then Y, and move it across so it's roughly in line. And I'm looking to line it up with the Z axis as well, because this is at 0. So now I can use this as my front image and this is my side image, and keep flicking between side view and front view in order to create my model. So I can go in and start reshaping. So let's scale this so it's the right size in the x-axis, scale it so it's the right size in the Z, and just move it into position with G. And now I need to adapt this shape really slightly. Let's go to side view, move it into position, and scale it in the Y. So it's roughly the right shape. Back to front view quickly, and into edit mode with tab on your keyboard, or you can come up here to edit mode. So I need to adapt the shape very slightly, so Control R to add a loop cut. So Control R and you get this yellow line. I want it to go across the middle. Double click and it will set it right in the center. I can then scale this in the X and it's created a very simple head shape from the front. You can go further if you like and go Control R and create a loop cut down the middle there. But I'm not going to do that, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. But you can go as far as you like. So the top's a bit big. If I press Alt Z on my keyboard, I go to X-ray mode. You can also come up here to X-ray mode. I can then select all my top edges or vertices or faces, depending on what you've got selected up here. I've obviously got edges because I put in a loop cut, and then I can scale those in and move them into position. The bottom ones, scale. And we've got the very basics of a very simple head. Now again, if you want to go a bit more advanced, you can add a few more loop cuts. I wouldn't suggest too many, but you could add one down here and down the middle there. And then you can make it slightly more circular if you like. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how simple it can be. Let's get to side view this time. Out of edit mode. And that's important to remember to come out of edit mode into object mode. So tab is into object mode. You can select these modes up here, and then I can bring my 3D cursor into the right position by shift, right click, and that should snap to my object. It's slightly out of alignment, but that's fine. So we'll go to side view, shift A, and again, I'll add a cube. Now it's difficult to see because we're in X-ray mode, so let's just turn that off for a moment. There we go. Now I'm using cubes. You might think a cylinder would make much more sense, but I'm using cubes to keep it all really, really simple, because cylinders have more polygons than cubes. So if you're a beginner, keep it nice and simple like me. If you're a bit more advanced, you can try a few things out. So let's scale it down, rotate it, grab it into position, and just move it around. Now once I've rotated it, and if I press S then Z to scale, it will only go in the Z axis, which is the global coordinates. If I press Z again, that will be in the local coordinates. I'll just press escape to come out of that. You can see that the rotation is 14 degrees, and Blender knows that, and still knows that the Z axis of this object is going this way. So S then Z twice, I can scale in the local axis. Now I'm overlapping my objects. Let's go to front view, and just line that up, so G then X, and line it up and move it into position. So you can see I'm creating a very simplistic character. So let's have the torso here. So back to side view with 3 on my numpad. Shift right click to move the cursor into position. Remember it's snapping to this back plane. Move it around, so let's move it up to there. Into X-ray mode with Alt Z. Watch out for that, as you can see there. So Control, let's go to side view, 3 on my numpad, and let's start moving these around. To object mode. So what you'll be building up are the different shapes here, and you might want to take a screen grab of this and use it as a reference to the side. That's fairly simple to do. So I can come right to the bottom corner here, and where my cursor changes, left click and drag upwards, and change this to the image editor, and then bring in an image in there. So if you take a screen grab of this, you can bring it in, I'll just bring the character turnaround in for now. And then you've got a reference to go by. It can sometimes help as well to just pin this image here, then it will always stay there. So you'll notice I've got icospheres for the shoulders, so keeping it nice and simple. So Shift A, add mesh icosphere. Now with the hands I could have gone a bit more complicated and you might want to be a bit more advanced. You can go into edit mode with tab, Control R to set a loop cut, and then G to pull them out, skills. So if I take this thumb for instance, let's click on that and go into edit mode with that, duplicating it across the other. So let's delete this side, selecting it all and delete, and because it's using the local coordinates of these across the other side, so X it all and delete, and select this side, and Shift D to duplicate, and bring it across the other side, so X to constrain to the X-axis, and then scale X -1. Now that hasn't quite worked, and there's a reason for that, and that's because it's using the local coordinates of these objects. So if I delete that, select all my objects on this side, and then press Control A to apply its rotation, that will mean that all its rotation is set, so when I press Shift D, X, and move it across, and then scale X -1, it flips across and mirrors like it should do. So before you do any duplicating and mirroring, you'll want to apply the rotation. So select the object, Control A, and apply that rotation. There's several other ways of doing that, but that's probably the simplest to understand. You could also mirror these objects and have your mirror object as one of these central points. You can see my torso is very slightly different. It has a loop cut down the middle, and I've brought out that edge just at the front there to give it a bit of a cylindrical look, and at the back there as well, that's slightly out as well. So I'll just select those and grab them in the y-axis, and then it gives it that curvature. So rather than being all flat like that. And you can see I've done the same with the shoulders, brought that out, and it's just a simple loop cut down the middle there. Again, you can go a bit further with this, so this forearm here is just a block at the moment, but if I go into edit mode, choose this face here, and scale it down, it looks more like a forearm. You may want to mirror these objects that are in the middle and the head, and then you can just work on one side if you want to make them more complicated, but again, that's more for advanced users. There is one aspect that I haven't been through, and that's extrusion. So for example, on the foot here, if I go into side view now, to extrude will create that new topology, just in case you've forgotten. So I'm doing a time lapse here of the way I constructed this female model. And I'm trying not to use the background image because I think that will increase my abilities as a modeler understanding shape, but it is just using cubes and you come up with a great looking human figure.
This was the perfect video to watch. This was exactly what I needed. And I want to see what other videos he has. So he has modeling. Does he have rigging or animating? I'll look at it at my own time. But this was perfect. He's doing like me, keeping it simple. But sadly we have to delete our progress. Now we need to delete our cube. Let's bring out the reference. We can make a collection. Reference. And inside of the collection, like the references, I can shift right click and create a new object, a simple cube, and we won't use any mirroring. No mirroring. We'll keep it simple. Like that. And then the side. Just to take into the shape. Now, what he did was he exits into object mode and then shift right click and creates the new object, and all of these I'll have inside of a collection. I'll call it robot, and now they are separate objects that I can easily handle. Now this is the foot. Think like that. Then now here I add another cube. Like keeping it really simple. Really simple. Now another one. Cube for the leg. I'm not sure how exactly to approach the leg. I can extrude here and lower this part. Something like that. Uh, uh, something like that. Actually, I'm a bit off. It should be to the front. The extrusion should be to the front. Like this. Like that. And we can apply rotation and Shift D to duplicate, then rotate X minus 1. No, rotate Z minus 1. No. Rotate, no, scale X minus 1. Yeah. Like that. And now the hands. Cube. Like that. And then another one. A cube. And then here another cube just for the hand. And then let's save it. Apply rotate. What happened? Apply rotation. Duplicate. Scale minus 1. Yeah, this is our robot. It needs a head. Let's say that's the head. Which should be the car. We could extend here. we could extend to roughly model a car. Something like that. Yeah. This is very, very low poly. This is a very low poly version. The next steps are to man, it looks so bad. And here I've made a mistake with the foot when I deleted vertices. But it's easily fixable like that. Here I just press the F key. That's it. It looks really bad, to be honest. It looks really bad. Next step would be to texture it. Does this guy have anything for texturing? Texture painting. Let's see what he has to offer.
This is an update of my texture painting quick start guide for 2.93, which is currently the same for 3.0. It's for beginners but not complete beginners, so make sure you understand some of the interface before taking this on. Do check out my website for more great content and the playlist on this channel, especially the texture painting playlist with lots of great tips. I'll also be posting on there how to solve your texture painting problems in case you get stuck. My screencast keys will be down the right hand side here, and we'll start with this hammer model here. If we go into edit mode, you can see the topology. It's nice and simple, and you can be nice and basic when you're texture painting objects. This technique will work for any model, but be aware if you've got a really high poly model, it may struggle. If you want to follow along, you can download the hammer, link in the description. The first thing we need to do with any model is to unwrap it. That's to tell Blender where to put the 2D texture that we're going to paint on onto the 3D model. So we go to the UV editing workspace just here at the top. That brings up the UV image editor window and the 3D window over here. We're also into edit mode if you weren't already. I've got all my objects selected. If you haven't, press A to select all and then U to unwrap your model. And we're going to use Smart UV Project. It's nice and quick and automatic. Click on that. What you will need to increase is the island margin, and I'll explain more about that in a second. I'll put it up to 0.05 and press OK. So if we look over here, the island margin is the space in between what are called these islands, and that's the way it's split up the mesh. The reason you want some space in between is in case you want to reduce the texture size to put it into a game, for example. You might get a bit of overlap between the two painting over here, and it may look pink to start off with. That's because it's got no textures, as you can see on the side here. So we give it a texture by pressing the plus sign here and basic color. I'll call this hammer color 2 because I've done this before. And width, I'm going to use 2048 by 2048, so a 2K texture, so I can add a nice lot of detail and I can reduce it later on if I want to take this into a game. The base color, I can change that to, let's say, a mid-gray because there'll be a fair bit of metal on this, so that's the most commonly used color. And I'll turn the alpha off because that's to do with transparency and we won't have any in this model. So I'll press OK, and you can see it instantly turns gray. We can't actually see our texture over here. We have to go to the drop down just here and choose hammer color 2 or whatever you've labeled it, and I can zoom out and it's all gray at the moment. So in order to start painting, make sure you've got your brush selected up here. You've got your color down here. You've got the strength here and the brush size here. You can also press F to resize your brush and Shift F to change the strength. So I'll make my brush a bit smaller and I should be able to paint and test that out on my model. So you can paint away to your heart's content. Again, check out my playlist for more detailed hints, like isolating areas, using different brushes, and so on. Once you've finished your painting, you will want to make sure that you go up to Image, Save As, and save your image, because the image is saved separately to the Blender file. So that was a quick start guide to texture painting.
So this tutorial showed how to paint. So if I follow the tutorial, I would be able to paint directly on the model. But that's a problem, because no matter how well I paint, we won't have image like this. Lost my mouse. Yeah, for some reason I don't see my mouse, but it can be seen on stream, but doesn't matter. So to get where is the mouse? To get a model like this, so I could paint it gray at some areas and paint it blue in other areas, but that would look very bad. I don't know, but we did modeling today for this stream. Texturing will be a different stream, but man, I don't know.